All right, today on the show, we have Jesse Wilkey and Jackson Dau from Channel Junkies. Now, let me tell you about these guys. Actually, these are two of my favorite guests, and we're actually having them back. Jackson is a professional YouTuber that is obsessed with video, SEO, and growing massive channels that produce results in the real estate space. Now, Jesse is a top producing real estate agent that is obsessed with growing a massive business and brand through YouTube and traditional methods of real estate. Together, they have partnered up to create Channel Junkies. Now, here's what they do, and I'm going to let them tell it better than I can, but essentially they're going to show you how to brand yourself on using video on YouTube to generate buyer seller leads and become an expert in your local market. And they have podcasts, they have YouTube videos, they have courses. I am such a big fan of these guys, and I've been watching them grow their business over the last year. It is absolutely incredible. I'm going to let them tell their story. Jesse and Jackson, welcome to the show. Jesse, this is your first time on the show, but Jackson is returning. So let's first identify who is who. Jackson, say hello.
Yeah, I'm Jackson, and it's Jackson Wilkey and Jesse Dau. We had the last name.
Oh my God, did I screw that up, guys?
It's all good, dude. It gets flipped all the time. But yeah, I'm Jackson Wilkey, and I'm the video guy / not good at real estate guy. And Jesse, who are you, big guy?
Yeah, and I'm Jesse Dau, and it's funny because we have the same middle names, which is both Ray. And so we used to our tagline used to be J Ray, and people always hit us up and text or email. They're always like, "We're looking for the J Rays and this and that." So it's kind of fun, and and that's like what we built our whole methodology, and our whole mission was to get people calling us, because I was cold calling and doing open houses, and was my primary source of business, and it's kind of like real estate always sees, you always want see people doing video and all these things. And I was like, I'm doing video and I'm doing these digital mayor style stuff, but no one's ever calling me, and I'm not getting any deals, and I'm still closing a lot of business through traditional real estate. And that's like what Jackson saw. So he thought he would go into doing video and crush it with real estate. And it was just a learning experience. So through that process, we really wanted to discover how we could get people calling us, because neither one of us wanted to call people. I was just doing it because I felt like that was the only way to make money. And I left a corporate 6-figure job to get into real estate and learn fastly like everyone else does. Like, man, this is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. But I knew that there was a path to through social media to get people calling us. It just hadn't been unearthed yet. And we had to figure out through content marketing exactly what people were searching for versus what everyone says you need to put out there in the universe. And once you really figure out what the consumers are searching for and start making content around that, it can really change your business. And if you really want to take it to the next level, it can really change your life.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So what these guys have essentially done is create content that people who are maybe moving to a new city or wanting to explore certain neighborhoods and maybe move within the existing city they live in, and they create content for people who are looking to move, essentially. And it's so brilliant because these guys are not actually restricted by their own geographic boundaries. Because think about this, for all of our listeners who are agents and realtors out there, if you create content, let's say you live in Chicago like me, and you want to create videos for people that are moving to Boston, as an example, you can do that. You can create those videos, and you think, well, why would I want to do that? Why would I want to create content for an area that I not only am not licensed in, that I don't, service? Well, because if you can create content for that area, or if you can hire somebody to create content for that area, you're going to be generating, possibly using their techniques, leads for people that are moving to that area or who are moving within that area. And then you can, of course, refer business to agents within that area. So we're really talking about a complete disruption and change in the traditional model of real estate, which is I live in the city, I work in the city, I only service clients who are, within my, sort of
sphere.
Within my sphere. So I'm gonna stop talking because you guys tell this way better than I can. But let's talk about sort of how the paradigm shift of what you guys have sort of discovered and how it's worked for you.
Yeah. And the one thing I would say is, if this is the first time anyone's hearing of us, go back and find his first podcast of
Yeah.
Jackson's interview, and it kind of gives the base foundation of exactly what we discovered and unearthed. And I don't know if you can link it, but if you can, that'd be great in the
We will
description.
have Jackson Wilkey's first interview with us about a year or so ago will be in the show notes. So if you're listening to this, just go into your show notes and listen to that first episode, which will give you a really good awareness of what they were building back then. And we'll talk about where it's gone today.
Exactly. So yeah. So what happened was we were already doing very good business, and the whole premise, like I said, was getting clients to call us, and it really started working well. Which through that process of learning and hardships of creating all the wrong content, the stuff that everyone said to start creating, in October of 2019, our business was really taken off, and we brought on our first buyer's agent, and she started closing deals with me, and through that process. As you know, as the turn of the year came in 2020, we started heading into like what was unknown to us as COVID. And I still remember Jackson, myself, and our lender partner, which is really important to have a good lender that helps you close clients, because we meet all of our clients on Zoom for the first time through Zoom, which was something that we were doing before COVID. So COVID really helped. But I still remember like telling everyone, hey guys, this is either going to take our business to a whole nother level, or it's going to crush our business. Because as everyone remembers, when COVID hit, everyone was terminating contracts, and we thought the end of the real estate market was coming, which was only going on for about 2 weeks. But in that interim, we had made the move to EXP Realty, which was at that time was a blessing in disguise for us. We didn't really know what was going to happen, but we made the move on March 1st. COVID was in full action in middle of March. And at that time, you weren't really allowed to work with clients, in their cars and things like that. So I'd met one of our partners, and Jackson was already out of real estate producing. He was just doing YouTube content 24/7, because he'll even tell you he's the worst real estate on the planet. So we made that decision ways before that he was only going to do YouTube content, and we would work with the clients, because it was a fun experience. But so I wasn't working with Heather, our buyer's agent. And so one of our partners said, Jesse, you guys' business model is so unique, you should step out of production. And this is something that a lot of agents have problems with, in my opinion, is they think they're the only person that can close the deal. They're the special sauce.
Right.
Everything has to be done their way. And now I've worked with so many top producers, and I've seen this hindrance for many people. But it's like anything else. If you're going to break through the next level, you have to get a little uncomfortable, and you just have to trust the process, which everyone says, but no one knows what the process is, right? So it was real hard for me to take that leap of faith, but I just trusted the process, and I stepped out of production on April 1st, and we were able to see our business go from 12 million the previous year to 50 million. And it was because I was the hindrance in the program, and I was blocking up the bottlenecking everything, because I was onboarding clients, working with, go ahead.
Yeah, and I'm going to slow this down just a bit, because I really want to hammer this story, because this is such an important shift that you guys made, that our audience is going to it's probably going to take them a little bit of time to sort of fully understand. So Jesse, you were a traditional real estate agent. You were trading, hours for dollars, so to speak, working with clients, taking them out, showing them. Jackson, of course, is a video editing content creator. He's creating amazing content, driving leads over to you. So you guys are working, have like a symbiotic relationship where you're both feeding each other. Jesse's the real estate guy. Jackson's the content, social media guy. Leads are flowing in. And then you probably just hit like a point where there was too many leads to handle.
Yeah. And one of the,
and I wasn't handling them well.
Yeah. So what happened was, so after a couple of months, and we'll back this up to like the summer of 19, before we got to the COVID era, like I called Jackson one day and I was like, dude, like what's up with all these deals? Like you're working with all these clients, and we haven't even put one into escrow. Well, we put one in. The first person that ever called, it was like kind of like we're moving to Portland, we need to buy a house tomorrow situation. Yeah. So they ended up buying a house in the worst neighborhood ever. And we told them that we're like, this neighborhood is horrible, gunshots every night. Like, you're not going to like this. And they're like, we're moving from the worst neighborhood in LA. We don't care. And they actually ended up selling it really quickly. And that's actually something that we learned through YouTube too, is a lot of these people buy and sell quickly. So they do turn into listings, because a lot of them are buyers relocating. But so Jackson told me, he's like, dude, there's people came, I don't know, I'm like, were you asking them if they're pre-approved? Are you Ask them if they even want to buy the house when you're out with them. And he's like, no. He's like, no, I don't. Won't they just want to write the deal or something?
I'm a talker. I'm a
I'm like,
talker.
dude, I'm like, all right, dude. I'm like, send me all their information. I go, transfer in the CRM to me. And he's like, oh, I just have all these Post-it notes. And I'm like, oh, I was like, all
Hey,
right,
you
dude.
want to hear the craziest hamster wheel? Stop you, Jesse. So I'm holding the check of our very first reach out, and it's kind of bright. The very first reach out I ever got with YouTube. So, I mean, I went back for all these crazy videos. Nothing's working. Digital mayor crap, interviews, nothing. And I finally kind of start becoming a YouTuber and understanding the YouTube platform. Well, the first freaking call comes, and those clients come from Canada. This is like 2.5 years ago where we just closed on their house. So we've sold 240 homes in between there from YouTube. But the first one just closed. But crazy enough, Jesse, we were showing these people homes 2.5, 3 years ago. And when I got out of the car, I got a Facebook message from that dude you're talking about. And I was like, Jesse, you think this is real? They like, hey, we're moving there. We want to buy a house. They already picked it out. They basically just need help writing an offer. And I was like, this is not real. And it was. That's crazy. I didn't even put that together until you were just telling that. It was with Roxanne and Q that message came in for YouTube.
Oh yeah.
And we closed it.
So yeah, Jackson was so anyways, Jackson sent me all the clients through just like an email. He put it all in an email, and I actually reached out to all of them, and I just said, hey, I'd love to bring you back to Portland and get you guys out looking at homes. And actually all of them came back. And this is how dedicated these clients are. And in October of 19, I ended up putting 14 of those clients into contract. And it was just really just, working with them, hand-holding them, finding out exactly what they wanted. And that's when we made the decision that we would bring on an agent. And then, Jackson would go to full-time creator, because one thing that Jackson and I, we've learned too is, and this is something that I talk to agents about when they're building partnerships with other agents, is you got to have, it can't be two agents that both love doing the same thing. Right. That's like a recipe for disaster. Mm-hmm. You have to be 180 degrees out on what each other's strengths and weaknesses are. So you can build a real, like you said, symbiotic relationship and, balance each other out perfectly. So Jackson is like amazing on camera. He's good at telling the stories. He's great with clients and things like that, where I was really good at closing the deals, building the relationship with the agents, understanding his clients' wants and needs and things like that. And so through that process, we started learning and unearthing how we could build a real business, not just a transactional business. And someone tried to buy one of our channels from us. And this is what actually got us out of, even now today, we don't even answer the calls. We don't answer the emails. We don't work with any clients. Someone tried to buy one of our channels and they wanted to pay us like $10,000. And here, one of our channels is doing like $70-80 million a year in sales. And it's like 10,000, come on. So we had it valued at that point in time, which was the first year in, which would only close like 10 million at that point in time. And then the attorneys were like, well, do you guys close the deals? Do you have to answer the calls? Because if you don't, your business the valuation will go up substantially. And so I was like, I don't know. And so we told our team lead, or our buyer's agent, Heather, now she's our director of sales. We said, hey, can you answer these calls and get on the Zooms and see if anything changes? And this was one of those things of like, where you think you have to be involved the whole time. Clients didn't even care. They were just like, she just said, I'm the relocation specialist. I'm going to help you guys out. Jackson and Jesse are busy shooting content. They're not the greatest at real estate. That's why they hired me. And she's amazing. And our valuation of our channel at that time was $4 million. And so that really shocked the person. And then we never struck a deal.
So just so that our audience really has a good awareness of how this works. So somebody's looking to move either within a market or to a new market. They find one of your videos, that your videos are specific to providing content that's really valuable to what people are looking for as they're looking to move. So, maybe, hey, what are the best, restaurants in a particular area, or what's special about this particular neighborhood? You guys create content around useful information that people who are moving want to know about that geographic spot. And then those leads. So what they're doing is building a brand with that content. And then they were really just focusing locally initially, right? You guys were just in the Portland area. Then you said, well, gosh, we're making all this great content for Portland. Why don't we, Seattle's not too far away. Let's create some content for Seattle. Let's see if we get any leads from that. And then we'll find it. Were you guys working those Seattle leads yourself, buyers and sellers, or were you passing those over to other Seattle agents? Was that your first sort of taste of, let's see if we can give these leads to someone else?
Yeah, that was, and we learned a hard lesson there that, first of all, we went over there in one day and shot a ton of video content. And then from there, I shot like 75 more videos with my green screen. And that one took longer. The median home price there was double, triple Portland. So it was a lot more renters, took a little bit more time. But that you're right. It was, Jesse's like, hey, I'm licensed in Washington. We get like a multi-million-dollar deal. I'll just drive up there and close it, But other than that, we'll just refer it out. Why don't we just refer? He always had this vision of like, let's just build these things and refer out. So we went up there, and then to touch a little bit more, like, so that your audience understands, it's yes. What happened was, we started doing those restaurant videos and like best restaurants and stuff, but like really put yourself into the mindset. If, let's say, you're traveling and you're coming down here to Houston, Texas, and you want to know where the best restaurants are, would you ever go to YouTube? Like, you never, ever, ever do that. You're going to go to your Google Maps. You're going to go to Bing. You're going to go to Yelp. And so a lot of marketers out there and realtors and Gary V's are saying to do this, but yet they've never closed a deal from it. So if you look at our early channels, we had a lot of that stuff. And so when we talk about the frustrations, that was it. And so I travel around. I've done this in 13 states now, and I will not spend 1 second of my time talking about restaurants because
that's not how people search.
If you're moving here to Houston, are you ever going to search Johnny's, taco shack? No, you're going to be like, where in the frick do I move? I've got kids. I got a new job. I don't even know one city. I don't know one zip code. I don't know one county. I don't know anything. All I know is Houston, Texas. And so from there, and really what got me on that path early on was the frustrating, like all these digital mayor videos and me trying to act like I was from Portland. I'm born and raised Idaho. I'm a friggin' redneck. I was a journeyman lineman working power lines. I don't know anything about video. I don't know anything about Portland. I don't know anything about real estate. And I'm trying to be that, right? Because we get thrown in our face that I've been doing real estate for 20 years, kid. It's like, oh shit, I'm behind the 8 ball. So I did a video one time about moving to Portland, Oregon, my story. Well, those are massive keywords, moving to Portland, Oregon. And it just I thought it would bury me. I thought people would hate that I was new to Portland. They thought they would hate that I was a brand new real estate agent. And it just like blew up. It just was just like, oh my God, Jackson, thank you for the honesty. Cause I was like, yeah, the daycare here is so freaking expensive. They're all booked up. I was having to bus my kid from school to a daycare for $36 a day. And he was there for maybe 30 to 45 minutes. I told that story, and you'll hear in all our videos, it's nothing but stories. Yeah. That's what works. And holy shit, the reach outs were just like, Jackson, oh my gosh, I watched all your video. I thank you so much. I actually found a daycare. It took us 3 months, but now we're moving there. We have a budget of $800,000. Can you help us? Like, that's really what started transitioning this whole thing was, yes, figuring out what people were truly searching, which isn't restaurants and escrow process and inspection, but what the hell is it like to work, eat, sleep, live, play, and what's the best areas in these that fit my lifestyle?
Yeah. So essentially, for our audience, what these guys do is answer those questions. So you're right. Yeah. If I'm looking for best restaurants here in Chicago, I don't go to YouTube, I go to Google and I look for lists of best restaurants. But if I was looking at, best parks in Chicago, I might actually go to YouTube for that, or best
places to live. What's it like to live there? Should I move there? Right.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
Oh yeah. I was just going to say, so one thing that we really, and Jackson hits on this a lot, and I've started adapting that into my dictionary of vocabulary words or whatever. It's content marketers. We're content marketers. We're not marketers. We're content marketers. So we're answering the questions of the consumers, and it doesn't matter if it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, it doesn't matter. And, a lot of people will be like, well, TikTok's outpacing YouTube and this and that, but it's like, who goes on the TikTok and buys a house? Like, yeah, you'll buy Sasquatch soap, but you're not going to probably buy a house, So when we see agents on Instagram and Facebook talking about, it's typically about themselves, how many houses they've listed, their open houses. It's like, unless you're at the bottom of that funnel. And that's what I've always thought of, is like, I've always thought of this as a funnel. And like, how can we get to the top? Like, we have to beat Redfin. We have to beat Zillow. We have to beat everyone else. So how can we do it? So if we can get them at the beginning of their search, which, if you're in bed and you live in Portland, Oregon, you're thinking about moving to Chicago, you're in bed at night and you're YouTubing, living in Chicago, you're trying to figure out where the best areas and neighborhoods are. And even if I was local and I was like looking to move, and I was like, man, I see this agent, I follow them, and they're talking about the 5 best school districts or the 5 best neighborhoods, and I don't live in one of those. it's now, it's actually sparking in my brain. Like, man, I want to get into one of those neighborhoods, especially if I have kids or I'm thinking about reselling or the value of my property. Those are the things that people are looking for. No one cares about your sales and your open houses and things like that. Like, unless you're at the bottom of the funnel, and at that time, it's way too late.
Yeah, the only people that care about that are your friends, friends and
Yeah,
family, and they don't care that much, right? Like
exactly.
everyone, so if what we're talking about is the just listed, just sold social media posts, and again, there's nothing wrong with doing that inherently, but and maybe it's good for branding to let people know that you're successful. Okay, that I guess an argument can be made there, but a much stronger piece of content to promote, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, would be, what do my clients want, or what do the people that I want to have as clients want? What are the questions they have? How can I solve those problems for them? And then you don't have to talk about yourself. You don't have to brag about all the homes you've listed and sold, because like Jesse just said, nobody cares. But what they do care about is, hey, I'm moving from Seattle to Chicago, and I need to find out the best school districts for my kids.
Exactly. And actually something that's real interesting, and you just talked about that, is so Jackson's only sold 2 homes in his life, yet he gets hundreds of clients calling him every day saying, hey dude, we're coming to Portland, we want to buy a house, can we have a brewski and this and that. So like, now you'll never see us like being anyone besides ourselves. Like, Jackson's always t-shirt and shorts. I used to be the suit guy and this and that, and now I'm just like, I love like my polo and shorts, because I'm in Arizona now, and that's my style. And people are looking for people they can connect with. That's what they want. They want the relationship. That's why when people become, you always wonder, like, why is this person selling their house with this brand new agent that's, their cousin? It's because they already have a relationship. It's already built in their mind that this is someone they can trust. So when you're building that relationship on YouTube, these aren't people that we're putting onto a landing page, a squeeze page, nothing. It has our phone number, it has our email. Reach out, give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email is our call to action. 100% inbound messages, emails, and phone calls of them calling us, not us calling them, saying, hey, we're moving to Portland, or we're moving to Texas, Phoenix, whatever. We would love to work with you guys, and then we have our teams set up so they answer those calls and they work with the clients and close the deals. And we were on another podcast a couple of weeks ago, and the guy was like, he had baseball bats and things behind him, and it's like, dude, people will resonate with that. They don't care about your longstanding history. And Jackson will always say that, because if someone calls and they're like, I really want to work with Jackson, or like, they're super adamant about talking to me, it's like, we'll call them and we'll just say, hey, look, we're not the best at handling your situation. Like, our team that we've put into place are the pros. We're great on TV, we're great on camera, but this is the team that we've hired to represent you so you can get your deal closed. You're moving across the country, or you're moving or selling. You want the team that best suits your needs. It's not us. And then they're like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. We really appreciate that.
And so you guys are 100% virtual now. You guys are not taking clients out directly. I mean, maybe friends, family, that kind of thing. But you guys are 100% really content creators.
Yeah, and that was the thing is,
personal deals will refer off. I mean,
so and this is like something like the evolution of stepping out of production is, this is when you do something and you do it right, you see everyone's process of like how they start doing a channel, and then they don't, they just go through and then when they go to the scaling and stepping out of production, they'll say the same thing. They'll say, we're only going to handle the multi-million-dollar clients, or we're only going to handle the high-end clients. We did that too. I said, I'll handle the high-end clients. And, but the thing is like, if you're not 100% out, you're still 50-50. You're either in or you're out,
Right.
You can't really tote that line. So what it was is, I tried working with one client, like, and this was right in about April of 2020. I said, I'll handle this one client. They're going to be a quick transaction, $1 million transaction. It'll be easy. Oh no, trust me, that 1 month turned into 2 months, turned into 4 months. And here I was trying to get out and scale, and I just one lingering client. So I just told him, I said, hey, look, Heather's taking over. She's going to handle you guys from here on out. So now 100%, whether it's our friends or family, and I should say myself personally, like, if it's a good friend of mine and they're like, hey, will you list my house? I try to give it to Heather, but if it's like a real luxury home and I'm giving them a deal or something, then I'll do it. But it's, it's because the market's and I don't have to be there to show it. Because if they want me to be there, I live in Arizona now. I can't go to Portland to show a house. So it's a real rare situation.
It's absolutely incredible. And I just want to really step on this point that you guys have stepped out of personal production and your business has skyrocketed because because you solve problems for people on social media. And the problems are, where should I move? What, and Jackson, could you give the eat, live, sleep,
work, eat, sleep, live, play? Yeah.
So that's what Jackson does. He constantly is thinking about answering those particular well, not the questions, but just giving content with those sort of categories. And he can do that anywhere in the country. And he can create content, he can put it up on YouTube, and then people reach out to him to say, hey, that was really great content, I am actually moving in this area, I have a few questions for you. And then my understanding is then you guys have agents in place across the country who you trust, who do great work for you. And you say, hey, we're going to be passing these leads over. You guys earn a referral commission, and off you go. And you make that, you introduce that person, via virtual handshake, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah. And so for us, it's all like kind of like a scout's honor. They've all partnered up with us. And that's why we moved to EXP, was because we knew we had a unique platform, but we needed a brokerage that we could do this at with basically one universal language. And so now we've got teams all across. So we have about 30 agents that actually handle our transactions and close our deals that we generate. And then we have about 230 partners that have decided to do it on their own. And we actually have a team that works with us that was 100% referral based business before they met us. They transitioned and they did about 50 million a year in sales. And they transitioned into our model. They left their entire team back at Berkshire, which was their old brokerage of 14 agents. They moved to us. They started their channel living in Denver, Eli and Will Grimes. And this year they've made over $1.5 million in commission off of YouTube alone. And they are just freaking skyrocketing. And that was the power of it. And they've done it all on their own. They don't handle our business. So, and then and people will say like, oh, I look in Chicago and there's already 3 people doing YouTube. It's like, there's probably 100,000 agents in Chicago, like door knocking, open houses, Zillow leads, all that stuff. Then they see 3 agents doing YouTube and they think the market's saturated. There's never, if there's 10,000 relocation clients, you can't even handle 1% of that business. And there are some markets that are very competitive, very tough. If there's a lot of rentals, those are the markets that are a little bit harder that we've seen. Some of the smaller markets like Coeur d'Alene, Idaho is one of our top channels now. There's a lot of purchases going there. There's not a lot of rentals. And we even have some agents in cities where there's only 1,000, a population of 1,000 that do great business in YouTube because it's the price point's great. And with COVID, everyone's relocating now. So that's one reason our business has gone, in my opinion, has gone substantial. It was going well before COVID, but even during COVID, it's gone really bonkers. This year we'll close over 100 million in sales, just 100% from YouTube. But it doesn't matter what city you're in, YouTube will work because whether you think people are moving there or not, it isn't specific to the city. It's like the metro area. So, if you lived in, say, Dixon, Illinois, like, I don't know if I'd make a channel called Living in Dixon, Illinois, but I'd probably make it like living in whatever the next biggest city is to drive those clients to that city. And then you can kind of start showcasing your surrounding markets. And so there's a lot of, Jackson can talk about this more. There's a lot of mental barriers to people that do YouTube. It's like they think they're not good on camera. They want it to be perfect. Well, I'll tell you right now, no one's perfect when they start. And this is what happens is everyone's told to like in condition to idolize people on TV because those are celebrities. They're perfect. They're watching Hollywood created content. But the reason that YouTube is blown up and it is the way it is because the average ordinary person can now get on YouTube and become a celebrity or become famous to people. And people don't want perfect. They want to relate to you. And if Jackson or I were perfect, same with yourself, guess what? No one's going to relate to that, or there will be people, but it's going to be a smaller pool. But we've done so much research on YouTube, and that's one of the reasons that it is successful is because people can really relate to ordinary people that can now build a YouTube channel and be, a celebrity in their eyes.
Yeah, I want to pause for. I'm going to pause for a moment for a commercial spot, but I want to come back to once you guys stepped out of production. I just want to give the numbers again for. So once we come back from this commercial spot, I want to talk about making the leap to saying, "Hey, I'm not working with clients anymore. I'm going to focus on creating content." And generating leads and building my network of agents. And I want to talk about, and you guys have talked about this, but before her earlier in the show, I want to just recap some of those numbers to let people know what has actually changed for you. Before we get to that, though, I want to pause for a moment, talk about our sponsor, Follow Up Boss. Now, after interviewing hundreds of top realtors in the country, do you know which CRM is used more than any other by our amazing guests? Well, you guessed it, it's Follow Up Boss. Let's face it, following up is the key to taking your business to the next level, and Follow Up Boss will help you drive more leads in less time with less effort. Don't take my word for it. Robert Slack, who runs the #1 team in the United States, uses Follow Up Boss, and he's built a $1.5 billion business in just 6 years. Follow Up Boss integrates with over 250 different lead systems, so you can keep your current tools and lead sources. And also, they have 7-day-a-week support, so you'll get the help that you need. And get this, Follow Up Boss is so sure that you're going to love their CRM that for a limited time, they're offering Keeping It Real listeners a 30-day free trial. That's twice as much time as they give everyone else. And oh yeah, no credit card required, but only if you use this special link. Visit followupboss.com/real. That's followupboss.com/real for your free 30-day trial. Follow up like a boss with Follow Up Boss. So guys, as you stepped out of production, which is scary because it's what you, or Jesse in particular, what you knew as an agent, and decided to go entirely referral based. What have the results been? And then again, I know we've pieced it together, but just to get really clear, how has the business scaled since that transition?
Yeah. And I want to talk about the mindset of that for a second, because everyone hears step out of production. You know what they instantly think? They instantly think, give up my business, give up my income and this and that. So in my mind, I was brand new in real estate. I closed basically 12 million my first year in real estate.
Which is incredible, by the way.
Yeah. In 23 deals, my first year, never sold a house, never in real estate, nothing. The next year, guess what I did? 12 million again. So I was in my mind, I was like, all right, I think I can. And I was working 7 days a week, 20 hours a day, dude. Like I would cold call in the morning. I'd go out and door knock in the afternoon. I'd come back. I'd hit the phones again. And then I'd show houses at night, go on my listing appointments, all that stuff. And I started getting really sick with anxiety. I didn't even know what anxiety was, but I was having it. And I was getting sick every weekend. Every Friday I would get sick. And it was real weird. And then, so I thought in my mind, I'm like, there's no way anybody can work harder than me. And I can work, and I can't work anymore. I'm one person. And I noticed after 2 years, I did the same amount of business. So I was like, all right, the only way that this is going to grow is by scaling it up. And I'm going to need help doing that. So, and that's when I decided to bring on Jackson, and he was my title rep, and he was already getting his license. So it kind of like was this where we were doing everything the same way. And so he, when he wasn't able to close a deal through the video marketing that he was so confident was going to work, I said, hey, why don't you come and work with me? I'll give you 20% of my business, and you kind of be my assistant just to keep your head afloat. And then let's focus you on the YouTube piece, and we'll go from there. But in my head, I was like, all right, I'm going to give up 20% of my business. And it was one of those things where I knew I was going to make probably less money that year, just because I was going to now give 20% of my business away. And that was just on my business. Anything that came in on YouTube, we were going to split 50-50. And our original agreement was once YouTube surpassed my business, everything would go 50-50 no matter what. So that was a big risk for someone. However, I had a lot of confidence. My background was in social media marketing. I was in the alcoholic beverage industry for 15 years, but I was there in 2010 when Facebook ads and Instagram wasn't even around. We went 100% digital and social. So I already had a good insight into what social media marketing could really do for a business, but I wasn't really sold on the whole Facebook ads because I saw it become more diluted over time. And I knew that was chasing business. That's not what I wanted to do. So in my head, I'm like, all right, I'm more about the fast nickel versus the slow dime approach. So I'm all about volume. And I know that those deals can eventually turn into referrals. Those deals can turn into resales, listings, and things like that. So when we brought on, when Jackson and I started doing more business, I was like, dude, I was closing the deals. We were splitting everything 50-50 from YouTube. And then I was like, we need to bring on our buyer's agent, Heather. This is a lady that actually found us when we were doing the digital mayor style real estate videos through a school fundraiser. So she saw us doing these videos, and she's like, hey, we see all these videos you're doing. Can you make one for our school? So that was another thing, digital mayor style videos. The police department was hitting up Jackson. These schools were hitting up Jackson. This fundraiser raised $100,000 that we did the video for, and we never got one phone call from it. There was a ton of people there. We even went to it, the gala. And so Heather said, hey, I love what you guys are doing. You guys are doing something very unique. She was entitled in escrow for 25 years. But during this time, she was off because her dad was sick. And she said, hey, I wanted to get into real estate and I want to close your guys' deals. So it was, once again, I'm adding another layer of business where unless you can scale it up, you're now giving away a piece of your business. So we actually gave her, we said, we'll bring you on. And for your first 15 deals, we'll give you 30%. And then Jackson and I will split the delta. And then 16 deals to 30, we'll give you 40%. And then once you hit 31 and above, we'll give you 50. But then at that point in time, we want to turn you into our team lead, exit production, and then we'll get you 2 assistants, buyer's agents. So that's exactly what we did. We met every single benchmark. We were able to get her assistants. So, and this is what people always say is like, your splits are horrible. Like nobody will ever work on those splits. And I actually remember going to this conference with Lance Loken. He's one of the top agents out of teams. He's probably behind Rob Slack for production out of Houston. And he said, I remember hearing him say, he's like, I had all my agents on 50/50s. And he's like, I went to them and said, hey, will it matter what the splits are if I can guarantee you guys all, this was his buyer's agents, $100,000 a year. And they said, no. He said, great. I'm going to take you down to 20% split. I hired 14 ISAs. You'll never have to close prospect another deal ever again. His listing agents, and he said, I'll write you a check if it comes in under 100,000 at the end of the year. His listing agents, he took to 15% split. And all of his listing agents ended up making over 300,000 a year. His buyer's agents all made over 150. So I knew then that if you can provide a high quality lead, that the splits didn't matter. So with our agents, we give our team lead 20% and we give all her assistants 30% on the deals that we generate. And then Jackson and I still get our 50. He gets 25, I get 25. And then if they close their own deals, they get 70%. So it is a real value where if they bring their deals, they're getting rewarded. And all of our agents all make well into the 100, like 100 to 200, a little over 200 a year. And they're not cold calling. They're not door knocking. They're not doing open houses. They're
you guys are generating the leads.
Yeah. Exactly. 100%. And so they love it. And guess what? They all say the same thing at the end. They're like, I don't know if I like the split and this and that. Our average sales for the United States, our average price point last year was 600,000. Average price, credit score was 783. This year, our average price point's gone up and our average credit score has gone down a little bit to like 760. So you're telling me anyone that's closing that high volume of deals and your average price point's over 600,000, like those are high quality people and they're calling you and they love you and they're going to give you referrals. And from that referral, we let them keep their 70%. We only take a 1 deal touch. So if it comes in once and then that person refers them 5 of their families, so it incentivizes them to now love on them and treat them well afterwards. And we actually train our agents and we put them in, what's it called? HomeBot. We put every client in HomeBot and we found that's a great tool. Follow Up Boss is another one, like you mentioned, for a CRM. So that's really all we do. And then we also pay for their one annual, they do one gift basket giving around Christmas with about 70 to 100 of our clients. And these people just freaking love it. But once again, we took a hit in our commission the first year, or I should say I did. Jackson's one that's probably scaled up a little bit more every year. So as the team lead, I knew what the risk was, and I was willing to take that because I was always hitting that $200,000 to $300,000 a year mark. And I was just telling you before the show started. Now Jackson and I this year, I don't know if it was you or if it was the other person I was speaking with, but this year alone we're going to make over 600,000, and we don't close a single deal. And next year it'll go up even more.
Probably one of those agents said that they got a referral the other day from a friend, which is like the golden thing in real estate, right? The referrals. And she's like, oh my God, it sucks. Like these people don't know me. They don't trust me. I'm having to like convert them. Like I don't even want any of my friends or family's referrals anymore. Like these YouTube deals are the best. These people worship us, so it's crazy. The mindset. Why
is that? What's the psychology going on there?
That's the whole thing, right? You've talked about, value and the funnel, right? And being top of funnel. Well, a lot of times when we're trying to get these people, they're already looking at homes. So they're in these like Zillows, Redfins, leads, and it's all conversion, right? And these people don't truly know you. And so when we do our YouTube videos, they haven't even looked at a home yet. This is how like beginning of when I teach this stuff, it's a sales cycle, right? When there's the sales cycle, the very first thing is there's a problem, right? Problem recognition, content marketing. So I got to move. I need a new house. I need to sell my house, whatever that problem is. Then they go and search that out and they try and find answers. So we've been able to get right there. When they're searching it, we're top of mind, and they watch us and they go, oh my gosh, this Jackson guy is so loud. He's so tall. He's so annoying. He talks about brewskis. Boom, next. And they don't call me. Okay. I don't want to work with them. But these people are like, oh my gosh, this Jackson guy, his freaking talking about his wife looks like she played goalie for a dart team because she gets stung by so many mosquitoes, you know, here in Houston. And they're like, oh my God. And then they get on these phone calls and they're just like, oh, it's really you? Like,
Yeah.
oh my God. Oh, honey, it's really, like just a freak out session. And so, I mean, they're like, these people will call, and if we don't get back to it in a minute, they text us. Hey, I tried calling you. Oh my gosh. Hey, I'm emailing you now. I tried texting. I've tried, like, they're begging to work with us. And so it's just completely revolutionized the game. And so when Jesse talks about the listings, everybody's like, Jackson, I want listings to live. Like, build an empire, right? We're 3 years into this now. We're talking about $250 million in production in the next few years. And a lot of that's coming from now the past YouTube clients. They don't know anybody else. We kicked ass on that relocation, and they're calling us, and we're getting 6% on every single one because we are the people they saw on camera. They freaking love us. And some of those people are now working on our real estate team, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Sure. Oh, that's amazing. And we should pause for a second and say, you guys teach people how to do this. You teach agents how to do this. So tell us about Channel Junkies.
It was a documentation. Like, as I'm going through and cracking this code of like what works, what doesn't, I started shooting videos on it, like how to do this, how to do that. And there's 400 plus videos on there. I mean, there is nothing I don't give out there. And I go live every Wednesday. Channel Junkies, if you go to YouTube, is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos teaching exactly how to do this. And I'm super consistent. You'll see as things have changed over the years, what I do differently now, and obviously I've flown to 12 different states all across the country, and I go in and I do these things in 2 days, 20 videos, and I'm out. And I know exactly what works, what doesn't. I teach it all for free on that Channel Junkie stuff. And that kind of, came to the next thing. Jackson, oh my God, you got so many videos and so much content. I can't get through it all. Can you build a course? That's kind of how that thing derived as well at channeljunkies.com. It's just like, all right, I ain't got time to watch 400 videos. Give me the freaking playbook. Here it is.
And the playbook will tell a realtor exactly how to start crafting videos for YouTube, what content to sort of go after, how to shoot it, how to edit it, how to produce it, the SEO behind it, and then also and would you recommend for agents who are wanting to build an online presence, start local, perfect your sort of local area with the content, and then possibly expand into other markets?
Yeah. And that's, with our partners at EXP, that's my 2022 goal now, is I'm done traveling and starting new channels. It's a lot of work, and I know exactly how to freaking do it. There's nobody who can do it like me, and nobody doing it like me. So my goal is helping agents do this who partner with us. And I got about 5 of them thinking about expansion. Do not get into this and just think I'm going to all these markets. You will get buried. The hardest thing with YouTube is getting a video out. And so if now to be consistent, have that 1-2 videos every week, and you've got 2, 3, 4 channels going, well, that's 3, 6, 8, 10, 12 videos a week that you've got to get out, and you stop. Right. So you need to start with one channel. We're proving it with one channel. It's more business than you can handle. I mean, the guys in Denver, they have one YouTube channel. They're doing up to $15 million a month in sales from their one channel. They have zero desire to scale that. They're doing other things. On the Drew Barrymore show, they're like crushing it as these like real estate celebrities. But yeah, you just have to get your feet wet and start with one channel. And the course really goes through that, right? If it's Chicago, I'm not going to go pick one little suburb that has 5,000 residents and do that. Like I cannot, I'm sorry, I can't name one city outside of Chicago. I know Chicago, right? And that's how you have to think about this stuff, right? When people are moving to that area, it's Chicago,
right?
Houston, right? Like names, it's tough to name cities in Houston. And this is the 4th largest city in the nation. But if you're moving down here, you're going to be like, okay, best areas to live in Houston, best areas to live in Houston with a family. What pros and cons of living in Houston, right? And so from there, I'm going to do enough content about these other cities and suburbs like Katy, the Woodlands, Sugar Land, Cypress, Spring, all these ones you haven't heard, but I talk about them to where when you start going down my rabbit hole of my videos, which they do, they watch these videos once, 2, 5, 10 times. That's how they start learning about these other areas. But the one tip I'll give everybody that we don't talk about a lot is like, I'm not giving it all away. Jackson, how the hell do you go into freaking Arkansas and shoot? You've never been there. That's the beautiful thing about it, is I'm just going to scratch the surface. I'm going to tell you what I like, what I don't like, but I'm going to stress in that video that you're going to move to the wrong area when you get here. We hear it every single day. I moved here too. I'm brand new, and it's so freaking hard to figure out where to live in Houston. One side of it to the other is 3 hours. You move to the wrong side of a street, you're going to hate it. So this is what we love. When you reach out to us, you tell us 2, 3 things you need, lifestyle, style at home, whatever you want. I know 2 or 3 areas in the Houston area you've never even heard of that will fit you perfectly. But the only way we can help you is you got to reach out, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. So my whole thing is like, if I'm doing a webinar teaching the YouTube for real estate or something, or if somebody wants to sell a course, right, it's all just storytelling and scratching that surface to get to the end point, right? Like, I've got to know more. I've got to work with this person, right? So that's kind of the whole sense behind it all, is start local. Don't worry about getting every freaking street right and every number right. That's what pigeonholes these realtors is. I've got to be perfect. And if I mess up one word, it's going to do. No, like, you don't know these cities. You don't know these streets in Houston. You have no idea what these counties are called. And so for our ideal clientele, it's very simple. It's strategic, but you have to have those real strong calls to action in there.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. And finishing each video with a call to action of, hey, I can help you.
And starting with one. That was the big mistake I made early on, is I never put one at the beginning. And, I'm a data analytic nerd now. I look at my average view durations and click-through rates and all that stuff. And, you get a 23%, total view duration, or 30% where those people, 30% watch your entire video. That means 70%. Well, shoot, I have average view durations of 14 minutes on a 30-minute video, but 70% didn't get to the end. So if I don't tell them to call me, they won't. And that was the biggest mistake we made early, as I did all the crappy videos that don't work. And then I kind of started figuring out YouTube, and me and Jesse started doing these vlogs, and I didn't know anything about Portland, but I would ask him, and then I would do this killer drone shot and just like make these sick ass vlogs, which my scaling was having an editor come in. I thought I was the only one who could do a real estate vlog, but I found out if I train them right, they're actually better editors than me. But I never told anybody to call us. And so we just had all these people watching, and the channel started growing, but no reach outs. And then one day we went and met with our lender at that time, his boss, and he's like, dude, your videos are different than anybody's I've ever heard. Oh my gosh. But are you guys getting business? We're like, well, no, not really, but the channel's starting to explode. He's like, are you telling anybody to call you? I'm like, no, dude, you're not supposed to do that. Like, as realtors, we're told, don't call, like, don't bug, don't sell. He's like, no, they'll just use you. Right. And so, okay, I went back to the drawing board. What is YouTube? It's a search engine. So if you hook them at the beginning, like thinking about moving to Portland, you have no idea where to live. Me neither. I just moved here too. There's 5 different sections, completely different lifestyles. We're going to tell you every single one and the differences in this video. So stay tuned. That hook right there, they're just like, thank God, that's everything. That opens the door to me going, all right, this is Jackson. And he's like, I'm Jay Dau. We're the Living in Portland team. Hey, subscribe if you want all about Portland. And if you're even thinking, we help people move and relocate here all around the country. We absolutely love it. So if you're thinking about moving anywhere in Portland, give us a call, shoot us a text, right? So that day, that video, I put that call to action in there at the beginning after I hooked them. 14 phone calls the next day. The rest is history. So yeah, a lot of people and marketers teach end of video call to action, but you don't get any business. But if you start with it in YouTube, hey, I'm Jackson Wilkey, the greatest realtor, call me, right? Well, they searched, what is it like to live in Houston, Texas? And I just talked about me. I didn't answer their question. Right. You got to hook the shit out of them. And then you can get your calls to action in there.
Yeah. You have
that's a really great point. Go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah. So I do a lot of, so Jackson's all about like the data analytics of like our channels and things. I'm like a big nerd into like bigger scale analytics of like YouTube itself. And they release a report every year on the information on YouTube of like, the global size of it. Last year, actually, it drove more traffic than YouTube or Google and Facebook combined. And the average person spends this year, it's been about 23 minutes on YouTube, but you only have 30 seconds to hook that person. So that's why, the average, like Jackson was saying, if they only watch 2 minutes of your video, you had never had a chance to hook them. But when your average view duration is I do a channel on recruiting, and my average view duration is about 6 minutes. So think about that. Someone's watching me for 6 minutes and I'm literally providing them all the value that they're looking for. But I also hooked them at the beginning with what the video is going to be like. And then I have my call to action. So I've never once reached out to a single agent in my life. I've never cold called. I've never door knocked, because I was like, I'm going to try to do this for recruiting and see if it works, because we get it for clients. Why wouldn't it work for agent recruitment? And I've personally have brought on about 100 agents directly through the YouTube channel. And it's them booking their own call and showing up on the Zoom on the other end of us because they want to work with us, or they want to, just hear what we have to offer them, and it's unbelievable. Like, businesses can do this. Like, we've had business clients hire us, our agency, when we had our agency, to do like golf club companies, coffee bean companies, you name it. It's you're answering the questions for the consumers. And that's why YouTube is amazing. Like I said at the beginning, is it's ordinary people doing videos on what people are looking for. And through that, the analytics that I was reading on YouTube, we were actually having the 2021 one created because the results just came out. And there's people in there that, like, there's like some random FAQs in there. There's people that will watch YouTube for 3 hours straight, listening to some girl talk on her bed, Indian style. Jackson talks about this all the time, with a blanket about nothing.
Right.
And her average view duration is 3 hours.
Amazing.
It's like, dude, there's an audience out there for everyone. So when agents are always saying like, I'm not that great, or we have an agent we just met with this week, and he's almost 70 years old. And he started his YouTube channel about a year ago in Portland, where we're at, where we created our first channel. Neither one of us live there now. He said he had 8 clients coming to town this weekend. And he just started this about 6 months ago. So wow. It doesn't matter if there's people in your own market already doing it. And it doesn't matter what age you are. There's a clientele, and he even told us, he goes, yeah, it's not really the millennials calling me. It's the older generation. And guess what? It's the people that would never call us.
He's like, but they got money, man. So
that's amazing. And for everyone, if your mind is spinning like mine is, because I'm thinking of our own business here as well. You really should take them up on their YouTube for Realtors course. Go to channeljunkies.com and sign up we actually have a special link in our show notes. So go to that link, click on Channel Junkies, and get their course. I mean, even if it only ever got you one sale, which it will do a lot more than that, it more than pays for itself. And it also is a great way to help support our show. So visit channeljunkies.com. All of their links to YouTube videos, their courses, their podcast, it's all there. And by the way, if you're an agent and you want to join a team that is actually out there, generating leads, which, let's face it, brokerages don't do that anymore.
Nope.
Maybe they never did, but they certainly aren't doing it now, right? I mean, I don't know of hardly any brokerages that are, maybe Redfin, I guess. If you're working at Redfin, they're generating leads for you. But outside of that, that's about it. You're a salaried person if you work there. So, these guys are able to, maybe you want to be part of their referral network. Maybe you want to be their guy in your local area. Reach out to them. What's the best way that an agent should reach out to you if they either want to join your team or be part of your referral network?
We have emails, Jackson@realagentnow.com and Jesse@realagentnow.com. That's as easy as it gets to reach out to us. Tell us you heard him on this podcast. But obviously, if you go to the Channel Junkies YouTube channel, a lot of videos, people reach out through there. And then Jesse's got the cloud-based real estate brokerage YouTube channel. So go check both of those out and subscribe to just kind of learn more about us, see if we are a fit. We don't want to work with people that don't want to work with us. So you got to, feel us out first and, view our content. And then from there, reach out anytime.
Yeah, that's why our network has exploded as fast as it has. In 1 year, 1.5 years, we have about 270 agents in our network now through agents. And that's bigger than most of the brokerages out there. And, that's, and it's 100% aligned of every agent that wants to do business like us. So it's really easy to scale and grow when everyone's aligned. And that's one thing that we identified early is like, we only want to work with the people that want to work with us. Same with the clients. That's why the agents don't leave us. That's why they love working with us. And if you're not like one of the persons we're generating business for, we don't charge people anything. It's like our whole incentive is to help our agents grow and expand and be successful. And we'll make our money from the brokerage side of the transaction. So that's exactly what our incentive is. And people always think like it's so weird because it's quite the opposite of most brokerages where they try to rabbit hole you in there. But I've loved it ever, in Jackson, I can't speak for him, but like neither one of us live in the Portland market anymore. We've been able to move. And that was one thing through COVID is everyone sees all these people moving and they're like, crap, I can't move. I have my real estate business here. And that was one thing is like, we both wanted to build businesses that we didn't have to be stuck to. And now we're able to relocate, do whatever we want. We're talking about earlier this month, we talked about going to Europe for a few months, maybe creating a channel over there. And he's like, I'd really want to I'd want to put my kids in school over there. Dude, there's no other real estate brokerage in the world that would allow you to do that. And not saying that they wouldn't let you do it, but you would be giving up all your business.
Yeah, it's really amazing what these guys have done. They've stepped out of production. They've become referral agents, and they're providing incredible value to consumers in a way that most of our listeners haven't thought about doing. So check out channeljunkies.com, get their course for YouTube for Realtors. We're huge fans of Jesse and Jackson. And on behalf of our audience, we want to thank Jesse and Jackson for jumping on the show today. For Jackson rather, is the second time on. Jesse, first time, we didn't get him on the first time, but we're glad to have him here. And I want to thank them on behalf of the audience, and on behalf of Jesse, Jackson, and myself. We want to thank our audience for continuing to listen and support our show. Please, just before you sign off, just tell one friend about our show. Tell one other real estate professional about our podcast. You can send them over to keepingitrealpod.com. They can stream every episode we've ever done right from their browser, or if they're a podcast person, have them search for Keeping It Real and hit the subscribe button. Jesse and Jackson, thank you guys so much. It's great to check in on you. Amazing what you guys have accomplished, and I'm so excited to keep chatting with you in the future.
Absolutely, man. Thanks so much.
Homie.
Thanks, guys.